Lucci gang, Lucci gang, Lucci gang, Lucci gang, Lucci gang, Lucci gang, Lucci gang.
Lucci gang.
Spent 3 racks on new main.
Yeah.
My bank love do complain.
Ooh.
Car D Kaizoku.
Lucci is a monocolor black leader with 5k power and 5 starting life. His leader ability reads, your turn, once per turn. You may discard 2 cards from your hand. When an opponent's character is KO'd, set this leader as active. So why Lucci over Smoker? I like the pressure of always having a potential double attack available with Lucci over the utility of a -1 cost effect from Smoker. I think both leaders are pretty good actually, and it sort of comes down to your preferred playstyle. In fact, both leaders can pretty much run identical deck lists since none of the cards depend on your leader's card type. This might as well count as a Smoker deck breakdown as well, so whichever leader you pick is up to you. I'll be going over Lucci in this video and the synergies pertaining to him. Lucci can provide you with 1 extra attack on crucial turns to get rid of threats that may become a bigger nuisance in the future. He's also good for closing out games as 1 extra attack can help push through walls of blockers. The fact that it can trigger off any kills means it's incredibly flexible to use, and you can hold off on committing to a double attack until you've exhausted all other possibilities, and you can guarantee a lethal. Let's take a look at the rest of the deck. Starting from order of cost, we have 4 OP02's Tsuru. Just a great 2k counter that has the utility of bringing something within range of all your removal cards for just 1 Dawn. Next up is 4 OP03 Brand New. Brand New is the brand new Navy Searcher we get, and one of the most important cards in the deck. He only searches 3 cards deep, but the reason he's so useful is that while he searches for Navy cards, he can also trash the remaining 2 cards from your search. Trash? That's bad, isn't it? Usually yes, but the new CP9 cards have gimmicks that require other CP9 cards already in your discard pile to activate. So Brand New both searches for our Navy threats and activates our requirements for our CP9 package. He's the glue that holds these 2 card types together. Next is 4 OP03 Fukuro. He's a cheap 3 cost blocker that can't be removed by KO effects. This makes him immune to Marco, Vista, Whitebeard, King, Kaido, and so on and so forth, and so cool and so sexy. Oh, what am I talking about again? Only blue and green and some random purple cards have ways to deal with him. Having him on board can really mess with how your opponent utilizes their Dawn for attacks. Next is 4 Starter Deck Tashigi. Another 2k counter that has the option to become a -2 cost effect. She also comes with a decent body. I didn't mean that in that way, but since you have to tap her to use her effect, I didn't mean it in that way either. She can become sort of a pseudo blocker as your opponent will most likely attack into her, so you can't use her -2 cost effect twice. Next is 4 OP03 Khalifa. Yet another 2k counter that can give -2 cost. She's the most expensive of the 2k counters we run, but she also does a lot for us as well. If we do decide to play her, she can cycle 2 cards, allowing us to cycle dead cards in our hand, and we still get to develop a 4k body while doing this. Her cycling can also discard CP9 cards that we may need in our discard to activate other CP9 effects. Next is 4 OP02 Kuzan. He draws you a card on play, so he's already card efficient in that regard, but what makes him good is that he has a -4 cost effect when attacking. No further Dawn needed. This -4 cost is especially important in OP03 as many decks now have access to very strong late game cards. Kuzan puts a lot of these cards within range of Kaku or Sakazuki for removal. You'll definitely be glad to see Kuzan in every yellow matchup for sure. Next is 4 OP02 Borsalino. Quite possibly the best blocker in the game. He's immune to KO effects and can block for 6k on your opponent's turn. A very reliable and sturdy defensive option that can help you stabilize against aggressive decks. Next is 4 OP03 Kaku. Remember when I was describing the earlier cards that activate CP9 effects? Well, we actually only utilize Kaku for this. Kaku can kill a 3 cost essentially for free as you require resources from your discard pile to do it. This helps immensely since the other black removal cards require discarding cards from hand, making our hand a scarce resource to pull from. He also comes with a 6k body that doesn't need additional Dawn to attack with on future turns. Next is 3 Starter Deck Garp. Since Kaku opens up some room for us to run removal that requires a discard from hand, we run Garp over Kobe. Garp can hit 1 cost higher and can be used perpetually as long as he stays alive. At 6k power, it's quite a lot easier to defend him too, over Kobe. Next is 4 OP02 Sakazuki. Sakazuki is our value engine. He kills something and he comes with the 7k body on board. Next is 4 OP03 Isho. The last admiral of our deck is none other than Fujitora. Hitting his discard 2 effect can be devastating to your opponent. The discard is at random too, so you might hit key cards that they were saving. He's great against decks that like to stack up their hand for late game shenanigans. His Dawn ×1 effect brings us a lot of value too. -3 to everything makes Sakazuki able to kill just about any card in the game. And if it's not enough, you have your 2k counters and 4-cost Kuzan to supplement it. We'll move on to the events. We run 3 OP03 6 King Pistol. Our admirals put in a lot of work for us. We want to keep them alive whenever possible. 6 King Pistol gives us a great defensive option on turns we don't have any Dawn up. It's always unpredictable as we don't telegraph anything by leaving any Dawn up as well. It does have to compete with Sakazuki, Garp, and our leader ability for hand resources, but even as a trigger, it replaces itself and can possibly kill a 1-cost. Lastly, we run 4 starter deck Impact Wave. It's one of, if not the best, defensive option Black has access to. It gives us defense and offense in the form of removal. Card effects like these are incredibly strong, and since the requirement for removal is based on cost, it's not anything your opponent can play around. It has an amazing trigger as well, being able to hit any 4 costs regardless of if they're tapped or not. For starting hands, Brand New is the most important card. Fukuro, Kuzan, and Borsalino are great too, but I would prioritize Brand New over them. Brand New starts us off with a body that can attack back into Zoro weenies, can find you a 4-cost Admiral to play on your next turn, and then discard 2 potentially CP9 cards for a future Kaku. He does all of that on your first turn if you go second. Against Zoro and Law, it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep an Impact Wave as well, as it can really slow down their board development. For matchup tips, against aggro, Brand New and Fukuro gives you your own early game options. Their counterattacks can keep the enemy board light enough for you to find Borsalino to solidify your defenses, or a Kaku to remove even more of their attack threats. Impact Wave also does wonders for you, allowing you to protect a hit to life while killing another attack threat in the process. Against mid-range, Kaku, Garp, and Sakazuki are your value machines. Being a body that can take out one of theirs is essentially a wand trade that they couldn't do anything to stop. Fujitora in the late game will help you keep their board within range of your removal. You'll have your leader ability too to help trade. Since you can attack twice with your leader, any Dawn attached to Lucci is basically counted twice. Against control, Fujitora can often get the 2-card discard off, which will dwindle their resources. You can establish a 4-cost Kuzan and get rid of any late game threat with their removal. Yellow currently has the only way to deal with 8-cost characters, so Fujitora will definitely carry you against everybody else. So this is the Lucci list I've arrived at for now. I know there's a CP9 heavy list that runs Air Door and stuff like that, but this one feels a lot more consistent to me. You can definitely whiff on Air Door and it feels pretty bad to waste 4 Dawn. It's really fun to play, and Black feels like a complete deck now compared to OP02. If you really want, you can even swap the leader out with Smoker and the deck would still work just as good. But this is a Lucci deck breakdown, so I hope it helps you out with your Lucci decks. Okay, bye!
Card D Kaizoku